On each of my boards, I have one edge that is pretty good. I have another edge that is pretty rough. I need to true up both of these edges so that both of these edges are perfectly clean and they are perfectly parallel to each other. I am going to run the best edge of both of these boards through the joiner 1 or 2 times. This will true up one edge. Both of my boards now have one edge that has been cleaned up on the joiner and one rough edge. My boards are still extremely wide, and at this point we need to cut them in half on the table saw. With my good jointed edge tight up against the good clean fence, I can position the fence so that I will be making a cut approximately down the center of the board. Lock the fence in place and we can make our cut. Now that we have split our board in half, we have one edge that has been cleaned up on the joiner. We have 2 edges that touched the table saw blade. Those edges are now mill marked, meaning there's scratches on the edge of it if you look real closely. And then we have our rough edge that we have not yet done anything with. We are going to run each of our mill marked edges through the joiner. This will clean up each of those edges. It will also give us a nice clean new edge to run against the table saw fence so that we can remove our rough edge that we have not addressed yet. By placing an X on the mill marked edge, it will help prevent you from getting confused when you get over to the joiner. And with the X side down, I can run all of my pieces through the joiner. On my boards, I now have 3 edges that have been cleaned up on the joiner. The top portion of this board, both of my edges are perfectly parallel to each other. The bottom portion of this board, I have one edge that has been jointed and I have one edge that is rough. I need to make the rough edge true and parallel to my opposite edge. To do this, I'm going to put my good jointed edge against my good perfect fence, and I'm going to adjust the fence so that I am removing just a small amount of material. And you'll want to check this with both ends, and then we can make our cut. And each time you do this, you will want to readjust the fence and make sure that you are only removing a tiny bit of material based on however wide the particular board that you are cutting. At this point, we have 3 edges that have been jointed. The edges of our top section are parallel. The lower portion, we have one good jointed edge and one mill marked table sawed edge. We need to clean up the mill marks on the joiner by running it through 1 time. Each of our pieces of board now have good, clean, true, jointed edges. Each edge of each of these pieces are perfectly parallel to each other. And since the edges are all cleaned up, we are ready to lay out for glue.